the snap. They're going to give it to Irvin. Irvin untouched up the middle for a touchdown. Drew Irvin, third rushing touchdown of the game. Benner takes the snap. He's looking to pass at the design quarterback run. He keeps now out across the 20 to the 15 to the 10 to the 5, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cole Benner. They give it up to Smith, and there's a fumble. Ball's on the ground. Otterbein has it. Austin Jones recovers.
Live from the studios of 33 College View, it's time for the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Westerville Automotive, Ohio Health, Roush Honda, and BMI Federal Credit Union. Now, along with head football coach Tim Doup, here's your host, David Kender.
From the Heidelberg 23-yard line, 3rd down and 3. Hammond to the right of Green and shotgun. 3 receivers to the wide side, which is the near side, 1 to the far side. 4 down linemen for the Bird. Shotgun snap, looking to pass. Green back, throws, has it complete to Benner, has the first down. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown. 23-yard passing touchdown on 3rd down and 3 from Green to Benner, and Benner has now scored a touchdown rushing, passing, and receiving this year, Elijah. A valiant effort by Cole Benner, who scored that touchdown 23 yards from Kevin Green. Also threw and ran for a touchdown in Saturday's game with Heidelberg, yet it wasn't enough for the Cards to bring the victory, and the Rhine River Cup stays in Tiffin for the 5th straight year. 49-31 the final score. Hello, everyone. I'm David Kender here on the Week 5 edition of the Tim Doup Coaches Show. My guest, as always, in studio, head football coach Tim Doup, and making his WOBN debut on the show, senior quarterback Kevin Green. Thank you both for joining me. Coach, a game of 2 different halves when you really look at it. Let's go with a minute before the end of the first half. Otterbein up 21-19, and they're set up to punt the ball back to the Student Princes. The snap bobbled by Sam Filippo. He had no choice but to fall on it, giving it to the Berg at the 16-yard line, and it allows them to score 4 plays later to take a lead in the locker room and get the ball back after the break. How did that change the momentum in the game?
Well, I mean, it definitely changed the momentum, but I thought still at that point we were totally fine. I mean, I called the team up at halftime, and I mean, there was no panic. We were fine. We're just going to go in and make some adjustments. It was just unfortunate, that it was a bobbled snap. But also, again, we needed to get – it was 4th down when they scored, and we got to figure out a way to get off the field. Either just give them 3, or nothing at all, because if I remember right, it was 4th down when he threw that pass for a touchdown to put us down. So, it did change momentum a little bit, but at that point we weren't panicked at all.
Kevin, what was Coach Doup and the rest of the assistant coaches' message in the locker room? You were down, but Coach Doup said you weren't panicking. What was the message?
No, there was no panic in the locker room. The message was that Heidelberg had been in that situation before throughout the year and hadn't really been able to hold on to a lead. So we were thinking that we had a pretty good shot in the second half. Just didn't pull it out in the end. We came out, no panic at all, but we just struggled to move the ball a little bit in the second half, and they were able to move it better than we were.
You finished 30 of 45, 362 yards in the air, the most passing yards by an Otterbein quarterback since 2007. Offense didn't really have a trouble moving the ball most of the day. In your opinion, though, what was the biggest difference between the first and second half?
Offensively, the thing that really would set us back during that game was negative plays. We were able to move the ball down the field, but then we'd get a negative play, 6-yard loss, 5-yard loss, and you're in a 2nd and 16, something like that. Harder to convert those. So in the first half, we had a good balance between running the ball. We knew we'd struggle to run the ball up front a little bit straight downhill. They had a pretty big front 7, but we were able to get the ball outside in the running game with our jets and different things like that. And obviously we were able to throw the ball pretty well on them. The second half, I think we got caught in a little bit of a catch-up mode there, especially towards the end of the 3rd quarter. And in the 4th quarter, we started, just struggling to move the ball a little bit, stalling on 3rd down, different things like that.
You talked about getting the ball to the outside. You had a lot of success with those short forward pitches, especially to Julian Lowe when he motioned from a slot across from the formation. It looks like a run play, goes down in the stat book, luckily for you, as a passing play. What makes that play so hard to defend?
Well, the nice thing is we when he's coming so fast, he's sprinting when we do it. It's something we practice every week because the timing of it is not easy. You have to time it up so that he's sprinting at 100% full speed. Otherwise, it's not as successful. But when you got a guy coming that fast, it's hard for the defense to react quickly enough to know what to do against it. And plus, we have different plays to go off of it, so they kind of keeps them guessing the whole time.
And other than padding your stats, another positive about that play is if he happens to drop it or it's bobbled, it goes down as an incompletion, not a fumble.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why we do it like that. That's why we do the pitch instead of the handoff.
Cole Benner had a huge game. He also benefited from those pitches because of it. He went down running, passing, and receiving for a touchdown in the game. Have you ever seen something like that in a ball game?
No, I really haven't. Cole's a versatile athlete, as we've seen all this year, last year, and a little bit the year before that. He's a great guy to have on the team. He can do a little bit of everything, coming in as a quarterback, switching to wide receiver, doing the wildcat stuff. It's great to have an athlete like that on the team.
Coach, I suppose that's the triple crown of touchdowns, getting one rushing, passing, and receiving. Have you ever seen anything like that in a game in your long coaching and playing careers?
You know, to come to think about it, I don't think I have. Until you said it, I guess I didn't realize that happened on Saturday. Just so much going through my head from Saturday. But, no, I don't think I've ever seen that done. I don't think by anybody here, especially since I've been here, I don't think we've ever had that happen.
Probably last time it happened was probably in the leather helmet days. It's probably been a long time.
Yeah, Leather Helmet Club maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. Kenny Zarball maybe. I don't know if Kenny did that or not, so we'll have to see.
Offense had trouble when they did run between the tackles. What was Heidelberg doing well that made that difficult?
Well, their front, like Kevin said, their front guys are, I mean, they are deep. I mean, they were literally taking 4 D linemen out at a time and bringing 4 in at a time. So they always had fresh legs, rested. I mean, 2 linebackers inside that have played there for 3 years that are both seniors. So you know they're very talented and they're tough to defend. I mean, tough to run inside just because of their movement, and they're just strong kids and athletic. I mean, we knew we might have a little bit of trouble. We did pop a couple, you know, and you know I think we've got to figure out a way in the future here, you know, take some pressure off Kevin. I mean, like he said, we've just got to be able to run the ball a little bit, because if we turn into a pure passing team, those D linemen pin their ears back and they don't have to worry about anything but pass rush. And, you know, Kevin took a beating, and we've got to get that corrected to where we've got to figure out a way to run the ball a little bit, some different schemes and things to take some of the pressure off.
You talked about it, Kevin. You did take a lot of hard shots in that game. Only 1 sack, though, that coming in the final few minutes of the game. What was the overall grade on the O-line, Coach?
Well, I mean, at times we looked pretty good, and then you know, other times we gave up something. You know, somebody came late, or you know, we let a guy come late. You can't do that. You know, I mean, in my opinion, I think we maybe a C. You know, we were very average, and we just got to get better.
Kevin took a lot of big shots. You always got up, even if you were slow to get up. How are you feeling after the game?
I was feeling a little sore after the game. Had a nice weekend of recovery. Got a few bumps and bruises, but I'm feeling ready now, ready to go out there this week and do something to Capital here.
Coach, looking at Otterbein's defensive side of the ball, driving up to Tiffin, I don't know about you, but we still were expecting to see senior John Sandwich at quarterback. It wasn't until we got in the press box that we were informed that Sandwich had suffered an injury, and it would be Tyler Stoyle at quarterback, who had only seen 1 snap all season long in the opener against Cortland State. When did you learn that it would be Stoyle, not Sandwich, at quarterback?
I learned about an hour before game time when Mike Hallett came up, and just, you know, Mike and I are pretty good friends, and so, you know, he's like, I'm not gonna hide it. You know, he's like, Sandwich isn't starting, and we're gonna start Stoyle. And the weird thing about that is, you know, Jim Stoyle was my best friend, his father in college, and you know, I've known Tyler since he was born. Jim and I were in each other's weddings, and you know, of all games in his career, he has to start against me. Obviously, we recruited him really hard. We thought he was going to be a good one, and you know, he just chose to go there, and you know, just for different reasons. I just didn't think it would be against me when he, you know, was going to be his first start. So that was a little weird, but you know, we chose, you know, to still go after him and everything else. I got to win a football game, but just very interesting scenario there, the way that played out.
So you obviously knew Stoyle, hadn't seen any film of him,
No.
with the exception of maybe 1 play against Cortland State. Did that throw off the defense's game plan at all?
No, they didn't change their offensive game plan at all. We knew it was, what they were going to do offensively, and nothing changed. They just rode with him and made it a little bit easier. They sprinted out a little bit more to get him out of the pocket. I think that was for his own benefit, just to get him out. But, the kid had a career day for his first game. That's the one thing that I noticed was that they did sprint him out more than we had. Sandwich is more of a pocket guy, could run a little bit, but Tyler pulled it down also.
You talked about it at the beginning of the show. Defense had a hard time getting off the field on third and fourth down. What was the reason that they were struggling so much getting off the field?
Some of the things were tackling. We missed a couple tackles. We could have been off. A couple things we didn't do the right assignment. And when you have a breakdown at that point, if that's the biggest disappointment was we couldn't stop them on third, and I think they were 5 for 5 on fourth down. You got to get off the field. You got to get our offense back on the field, and that didn't happen. So obviously that was discouraging. But that's things we got to work on and get fixed for this week.
Rough game special teams-wise, giving up a 98-yard touchdown to Brian Lacey following Otterbein's first touchdown of the game, and then, of course, the drop punt that we heard earlier about. What was the grade on special teams after the game?
Believe it or not, I think we got 7 or 6 of the special teams goals. But those two things, you can get all your goals with the hidden yardage and everything else, but, those two led basically 14 points, and we got to figure a way to fix that out, whether it's personnel and change some guys, on kickoff. Flip's fine. We're not going to change our punter, okay? Flip's the guy. It's just unfortunate that, it was a snap, and I just don't think he got his hands on it quick enough, and it sort of hit him in the stomach, and then when he went to recover it, it popped out of his hands. And smartly on himself, he fell on it instead of trying to pick it up, run around, and the ball could have been fumbled and everything else. So, he was very smart there. It was an unfortunate break for him.
Still did average 45 yards.
Yeah,
in his other three
he's
kicks
he's a great punter. It's just an unfortunate deal, for him. And being a freshman, it's probably not the easiest thing to be back there right now. But, he's still our guy. He's still booting the crap out of the ball. So, it happened, and we just got to forget about it. When
we return from the break, it's officially Capital Week on campus, and we'll preview the 90th matchup between the Cardinals and the Crusaders. It's the Tim Doup Coaches Show on WOBN 97.5.
Fewer than 5 out of 100 people give blood. Ever wonder why they do it?
It's the one thing that we can do that we can always afford to do, and hey, you get a snack afterwards. So
snacks are great. I had never knew my blood type, and I found out in doing this that I'm O negative, so there's that added pressure knowing that everyone can use my blood at any time, and so I feel like it's my responsibility.
It's a little extra bragging power, too, knowing that you're a universal giver.
Yeah, I'm pretty special.
Call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org to make an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Cole Benner, senior wide receiver, and you're listening to the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN. Miss anything from today's show? You can listen to every episode on WOBN's YouTube page.
Hey Cardinal fans, Otterbein Athletics on the Radio is brought to you in part by Westerville Automotive. Serving the Westerville area for 20 years, they have 2 locations on Westerville Road and in the Uptown area, just seconds away from Otterbein on Main Street. They're on the web at westervilleautomotive.com. You can follow them on Facebook at Westerville Automotive Uptown or call them at 614-890-6700. That's Westerville Automotive.
I used to be one of those irresponsible guys, always goofing off and acting like a real jerk. Girls wouldn't give me the time of day. Hey, Julie, do you have the time?
Shut up.
Then, 30 days before my 18th birthday, I went down to my local post office and registered with Selective Service. Overnight, I became aware of the man I had suddenly become, eligible for federal student loans, government jobs, and job training, responsible and mature. Hi, Julie. Dinner tonight?
I'd love to, Brad.
So register with Selective Service. It's what a man's got to do.
Good afternoon, I'm Lillian Van Weingarten with a check of your Wednesday weather. 71 degrees and partly cloudy in Westerville right now. 0% chance of precipitation through the day. Tomorrow is a high of 74 with a low of 52. Now back to the Tim Doup's Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN.
Welcome back to the Week 5 edition of the Tim Doup Coaches Show here on WOBN 97.5. If you missed anything from today's episode, you can catch the show in its entirety on WOBN's YouTube page. I'm David Kinder with Coach Doup and senior quarterback Kevin Green. It's officially rivalry week on campus. The Cardinals preparing for the 90th all-time meeting between the two schools. Kickoff set for 1:30 at Bernlohr Stadium in Bexley, and you can hear that coverage of the game right here on WOBN. I'll have all the play-by-play. Kevin, you've never lost to Capital in your career. Looking to go 4-0, what does the rivalry mean to you?
Oh, it's huge. Back in high school, I had a big crosstown rivalry also, so for 8 years now, I've had that crosstown rivalry, and I honestly feel bad for anyone who doesn't have that opportunity because it's just nothing better than it. There's so much adrenaline going. And yeah, I won there 3 years. Actually, my freshman year, that was the one away game that I dressed for, and it was it was exciting. I can tell you that. And and then my sophomore and junior year, we were able to beat them also, and looking forward to hopefully putting up the same result this year.
We always hear the same cliche that you treat your rivals just like every single other game on your schedule. Do you do that? Do you treat it like every other game, or does this one hold a special place for you?
The preparation's the same. You like to keep similar preparation for every week, but emotionally, there's definitely a little bit more invested in it. I think all the players get a little bit more fired up for it, different things like that. But as far as schematically and, the day-to-day process of preparing for the game, it's all very similar.
Coach, I like to go back in the record books and pull up old stats. A victory would make you and Rocky Olt the only coaches in Otterbein history to start 4-0 against Capital in the 100-plus year history of football at the school. I see you smiling a little bit. I know that's a lot of pressure. What does the rivalry mean to you?
Well, I think it means more to me just because I played here. I've been part of it as a player. And, when you come in as a freshman here as a player, you learn right away that, Capital Otterbein is a rival. Now, from what I hear down there, they have rumblings of it's not a rival anymore, blah, blah, blah. But, to us, it is. We get a little extra fired up. Like Kevin said, we'll prepare the same way. But, this one means a little bit more than your normal game. And, if you come to a football game or you come to a basketball game, you see two student sections at basketball games just going at it. Let alone on the court. So, it is a big rivalry. I've played in it. I didn't realize, if I was 4-0, I don't look at that. That's your job. You're the one who makes me more nervous. But I'll just leave it up to Kev to win the game. It's on him. No, I'm kidding. But it means a lot to us, and we don't want to lose to those guys.
The Crusaders have an identical record to Otterbein, 2-2 overall, 2-1 in league play, but they're coming off a tough 62-7 loss to Mount Union, in which they broke the Purple Raiders' defensive scoreless streak on the season. Crusaders, well known for running the option. Of course, their head coach, Coach Candido, ran it as a quarterback at Navy. What makes it such a difficult offense to defend, Coach?
You never see it. You have about 4 days to prepare, and it takes. There's so much things that go into that offense on what to do to try to stop it. And when you only have so many days to prepare, number one, it's tough to get your guys ready to get cut all the time because you don't really want to cut live in practice. There's a lot of different responsibilities and the different looks they give and the motions and things like that. So it is the toughest, offense to try to defend, and especially when you don't have any time and, you don't see it except for one time a year. So we've got our hands cut out for us. They can run the ball. It is a run offense. They've started throwing the ball a little bit more out of it. They're 3 years into it with a lot of the same guys. So, this year I think, their offense looks the best it's looked. And you can tell. They've got answers for things and adjustments they're doing and things like that. So, I think it's going to be a big challenge for our defense.
One of those guys that's been there for all 3 years, junior running back Brent Walton, averaging 150 yards on the ground a game, and his 9 scores are the most in the OAC. 2-time Offensive Player of the Week in the conference. Coach, is he just a product of the offense, or is he really that good?
He's good. He reads things. He cuts well. He's a perfect back for that of what they do. whether they're trapping or running veer or midline or whatever they're doing. I mean, he's got that sense of, he knows where to go, how to hit the hole and cut. He runs hard. So, I mean, he's a very, very good back.
We can expect Capital probably not to attempt more than 10 or so passes in the game, usually based on the stats we've seen so far. So defensively, how do you line up when you're defending the option?
Well, there's different ways to look at it. Some guys, people go 4-man front, some people go 6-man front. It just all depends on what fits into your package. But you've got to be ready to defend the pass too, because run, same formation, same motion, all of a sudden, boom, they're out, and these guys are running free. So you've got to tie everything you're trying to do to stop the run, but you still have to tie that into coverage. So that creates problems, because you just can't sit in your normal defense and say, here we are, because they'll make their adjustments. You've got to tie everything in that you're doing to your coverages, so that when they do throw those passes, you're still in a good position. You don't give up the big one.
Kevin, just 67 rushing yards last week, 40 of them coming on one John Piles run in the first half. How important is it going to be to establish the run early in this game so you can set up the pass?
It's going to be important. I mean, we threw the ball 45 times against Heidelberg, which isn't a terrible thing, but it always helps when you can get the run game established. It forces them to put more players in the box, which obviously will open more things up for the passing game. So that's very important, and I'm sure we'll put together a great game plan, and we'll be ready to do it.
The Capital defense has given up the most yardage per game in the OAC at 472 a game. What have you noticed about them from watching film or scouting that they do well?
Defensively, they've got good athletes on the back end and the front end. They're very athletic. Maybe not as big as Heidelberg was, but they're very athletic. They move well. They've got, I believe, an honorable mention all-conference player coming back in the defensive backfield. He's a good player, tackles well, defends the pass well. So they've got good athletes. It's just going to be, like you said, establishing the run and using that to open up the passing game.
Coach, what's the injury report for Saturday's game?
That's a funny question. Right now, I can't tell you. We're about a day-to-day, week-to-week with that. We've been beat up all year, and right now, I have no idea by Saturday. There's going to be some that are game-time situations, game decisions. A couple of them we might get back a couple days before. So, right now we are still beat up, and, we're just still trying to figure some things out, if we need to move anybody or what we're going to do. But, hopefully by game time we're healthy.
Otterbein-Capital kickoff this Saturday at Bernlohr Stadium in Bexley at 1:30. Tune in for our pregame coverage starting at 1 o'clock. When we return from the break, there are a lot of unusual or unfair rules in football, and we'll talk with Coach Doup and Kevin Green about what rules they would like to see modified or removed. You're listening to the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN.
Football is a sport that unites fans, players, and coaches alike in a spirit of competition and camaraderie. Football season has come to our area, and while you're watching a game with friends or sharing in the excitement with family, be sure to celebrate responsibly. Never pick up the keys and drive if you've had too much to drink. And if you're 21, drinking alcohol is against the law. Remember, alcohol is different. Let's all work together to keep our roads and community safe and have a winning season.
Catch the Cardinals Sports Wrap with David Kinder and Elijah Gonzalez every Monday from 5 to 7. It's America's best sports talk radio show. Even Jim Harbaugh says so.
Yeah, I would agree. Can't disagree with that.
Every Monday from 5 to 7, only on WOBN 97.5. Can't make it to one of the football games this year? Well, WOBN has you covered with live broadcasts of all 10 football games this year, home and away. Join us 30 minutes before kickoff for pregame, and stay with us long after the final whistle for analysis and updates on what else happened in college football. It's all right here on 97.5 WOBN and streaming live anywhere in the world on WOBN.net. Welcome back to the Week 5 edition of the Tim Doup Coaches Show. I'm David Kinder, along with Coach Doup and senior quarterback Kevin Green. If you missed anything from today's show, you can listen to it on WOBN's YouTube page. And if you missed this Monday night football game, you really missed an interesting ending to the game. The Lions trailed the Seahawks 13-10 with about a minute to go in the game. Matt Stafford hit Calvin Johnson, who looked like he was going to take it in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown, but he was stripped from behind. It rolled into the end zone, and the Seahawks defense batted it out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. They ended up getting the ball on the 20-yard line, taking a few knees, and ending the ball game. However, after the game, we learned that batting a ball backwards in the end zone is a penalty flag, so the Lions should have had the ball back. First down, half the distance to go to goal. Coach, Kevin, there are a lot of unusual rules in football, a lot of antiquated rules, the 1-point safety, the free kick following or a fair catch, drop kicked field goals, and extra points. There's a whole lot of unusual rules, and in your opinion, I'm sure some unfair rules. So our question is to you, if you had to say, what rules in football would you like to see modified, removed, or instituted?
Okay, I'm going to throw a curveball here.
All right.
Okay. I would think about this. Probably not a lot of people have thought about this. Why can we not extend the box all the way down to the goal line? Why do we have to stop where we stop, and people have to look? Why can't we go all the way down to the goal line? The players and the coaches, just the same, will stay off the field, everything, but just extend it to the goal lines, and so we can be down there and see what's going on. And we can sub easier and things like that. See, people probably never thought about that, but I have. It would just make it easier. That way you've got free reign of the whole sideline all the way up and down. I think it'd be easier to coach that way. I don't see what the problem would be. So unless it's media and media lines, because they can come up to where the box is and things like that back. I don't know, but I would like to see that changed.
That's very interesting, and I imagine at the D3 level it would be a lot easier to do because you don't have the amount of cameramen on the field, reporters.
Yep.
It'd probably be a lot easier to try at the D3 level, see if it works, then possibly instituted at the D1 and professional level.
It'd be great for me to be able to stand down there at the goal line and watch our offense score, or if our defense is on, and be able to adjust things just like we came from the middle of the field. Why can't we go on down there?
Never thought
there
about
you have
that
it.
before.
See, I told you, curveball.
That's a good one. Kevin, I know you're a big Lions fan. You had to be very upset with the way the game ended on Monday night, and I'm sure you knew that batting a ball out of the back of the end zone was a penalty flag.
That's right. I was sitting there watching it with all my roommates, and no one was saying a word, and I was sitting there like, I know that is an illegal play. But, it's the life of being a Lions fan. It's been like that for the last 10 years. Went through the 0-16 season. It's a rough life, but you got to love it.
So if it was up to you, which rules in football would you like to see modified, removed, or even come up with a new one to put in place?
I definitely like Coach Doup's suggestion. I think that, especially at our home games, I know we dress the whole team for our home games, and sometimes it feels like we're stacked 3 deep trying to see what's going on out there. So that would be very nice. I guess being a quarterback, I guess I'm a little biased. You always like to see a little bit more defensive pass interference. They call it a lot at the professionals and the D1 level, but we don't see it as much at our level. We're not looking for all the TV ratings and whatnot. But other than that, I know some of the cutting rules are a little odd, especially with the outside guys, when you're not allowed to cut. I know some guys just tell their receivers never to cut because it's kind of wishy-washy with whether or not they're going to call it or not. Other than that, I can't really think of anything.
I'd like to see
crazy.
cutting completely disappear from the game, to be honest. I really would. Just even inside, O-line, D-line, let's just get rid of it. You see way too many blown knees. You see this, you see that. I wouldn't be opposed at all if they got rid of it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that the targeting stuff that they've implemented recently is great. I want to do concussion research actually in the future a little bit, and I think that's something that I'm very glad that they did because, the head injuries are just, especially at the higher levels of football, just something that ridiculous these days.
We saw that Saturday. One of the Heidelberg players called for targeting and ejected from the game. And if I'm not mistaken, the first time that's been called in an Otterbein game since St. John Fisher was here to open up the 2013 season at Memorial Stadium. And one of their players was called for targeting and ejected. So that's obviously been one of the biggest rule changes, and I'm glad to see both of you are in favor of that. And, Coach, you were saying there's another flag that you wish was thrown a little more often.
Well,
in the game.
I just think the holding is out of control. When I put on film and I see our guys getting tackled, even if it's at the point of attack or not. When your guys are getting tackled by O linemen, that's not the game. The game is, can you fit inside? you can hold inside. I get it. Every O-lineman does it inside. But when you're literally getting grabbed around, the whole body and tackled to the ground and it's not being called, I think it's a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. There's got to be a way to be able to do it. I mean, I get it. Every O-lineman holds, and I know everybody holds at times, but some of them are so ridiculous that you got to be able to distinguish one or the other. And I think we're just letting it go way too far.
Now, if we could just get both of you on the rules committee, we'd have a perfect game.
No, because the officials still got to call it.
Yeah, we still see the batted rule in place, but it still isn't called.
True.
Coach Kevin, thanks for joining us in studio. We really appreciate it. We'll see you Saturday in Bexley for the big game. Best of luck to both of you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Otterbein and Cap kick off Saturday at 1:30. You can hear all the action right here on 97.5 WOBN. Our pregame coverage starts at 1 o'clock with the Roush Honda pregame show. If you missed anything from today's episode, you can listen to it in its entirety on WOBN's YouTube page. For Coach Doup and Kevin Green, I'm David Kinder saying so long until next time.